Hi, Madeline Lowry, Certified MAP Method Practitioner. I'm here to answer some of the most frequently asked questions about the MAP method and MAP sessions. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what is the MAP method, right? How does it work? What are sessions like? And also, how many sessions will I need? Okay, so we'll start with those questions. So what is the MAP method? The MAP method is a method of advanced neural retraining. You may be familiar with some basic methods of neural retraining like DNRS, like the Sarno method created by Dr. John Sarno for chronic pain, affirmation work, intentions, or other things, other methods like that. Those are basic methods. In those methods, you are learning, there's an education component, and then you're learning some exercises or some mental practices that you use on your own, right? So it's very much do it yourself. With the MAP method, you work with a practitioner. It's a practitioner facilitated method, and the rewiring happens in the session. So there's no practice needed. There's no, hour a day of doing repetitions. No, the rewiring happens in the session. So it is very fast. It is very gentle. The changes are durable. And the results are fairly quick. It's a fairly efficient method as well. You may be familiar with some of the energy psychology methods of the 1980s, like EMDR or tapping. The MAP method grew out of those energy psychology methods, but it is described as a quantum leap over those methods. And I think, in some ways it is unrecognizable as having come from those roots because there's no need for bilateral stimulation. There's no need for tapping acupressure points. With the MAP method, we are harnessing the power of the subconscious mind, your subconscious mind, to rewire itself. And so, it is a fundamentally different way of working. Distance is not important. These sessions are done over Zoom video conference. We can work with people all over the world. And so maybe I'll just segue into, the second question, which is how does it work? So as I was explaining, MAP works by harnessing the power of the subconscious mind. The MAP method deals with consciously known and subconsciously held sources of stress. So all you need to know when you come to a session is something that you want to work on, whether it's an emotional, mental, or physical pattern. So we select a topic, and that organizes the session, right? And at each round of instructions, you are focusing on a memory. Maybe it's an event, something that happened that has some emotional intensity for you. Maybe it's an example of an anxiety trigger, something that makes you feel afraid, like a phobia. Typically, the first session is on an emotional topic, so those would all be good examples of topics for a first session. But in each round, you're focusing on something, and that serves as kind of a template. And we ask the subconscious mind to observe that memory and to identify all the associated memories to it. And then the subconscious mind is asked to treat the memories, which just means that we're neutralizing the painful emotions around the memory, right? So you still have the memories. We're not erasing memories, but we are reducing diminishing the painful emotional intensity associated with that memory and with all other memories connected to it. By doing this, we can change the conditioned responses, or you can think of it as programming, in the subconscious mind. Because when a memory is very highly emotionally charged, it is held in the highest, like as a high priority memory in the subconscious mind. And when we can neutralize the emotions around that memory, it almost appears to deprioritize that memory in the operating system of your subconscious mind, right? And so we can change conditioned behaviors, conditioned responses, or we can even call them kind of behavioral habits or patterns, by working with memories. So how does a person become receptive to the instructions that the practitioner is giving, right? Can anyone do this? Well, each client has to be initiated to the MAP method. So I will say that there are two parts to this. One, you watch a 15-minute preparatory video. As soon as you sign up for your introductory sessions, a 60-minute session, you will receive a confirmation email with a link and a password. You watch the video, you come to your first session with an idea for a topic that you would like to work on, or maybe a few ideas, and we'll pick one. And then at the first session, we spend the first few minutes just doing a few preparatory steps. We review some of the concepts that you learned in the video, and then there are a few preparatory steps that we go through, and your mind becomes primed. Your subconscious mind is primed so that it is receptive to the instructions the practitioner provides. There's no need to believe in anything, right? It's not based on belief. You can be as skeptical as you like. It still works. This is why I regard it as a technology. And I also want people to understand that every session, no matter what the topic, is relieving or reducing subconscious sources of stress. Now let's talk a little bit about what sessions are like. We conduct sessions over Zoom video conference. There is no other equipment needed, just what you need to connect to the internet and connect to a browser or whatever so that you can participate in a Zoom video conference. The sessions are meditative, they are relaxing, and the experience from the client's point of view is very simple. Like I said, we choose a topic. For the first session, we choose an emotional topic because I want you to have the experience of feeling the difference between the beginning and the end of the session, to feel that emotional intensity around the memory or the topic that we've chosen diminish from the beginning to the end, right? And so once you've had that experience, I think it is very confidence building for you and for me, so that we are both able to see that this method is effective for you. From that point, we typically work in 90-minute sessions. For most of my clients are wanting to work on physical symptoms, and for this we want to work. These are deeper, more complex patterns, and for these kinds of topics, we want to work in 90-minute sessions. And so when we start working in 90-minute sessions and we're taking on different kinds of topics, right? Maybe non-emotional topics, you may not feel the difference. It's not so easy to know what has been accomplished within the session. That may reveal itself in the days to follow. But And so this is why the first session, we always focus on an emotional topic, because I want you to have that definite experience of like, oh, okay, I see now, how the flow of a session works, and I recognize, I can feel the difference. During a session, like I said, you're focusing on something with your conscious mind, right? You're holding a memory or an experience in your mind. And the practitioner, so your eyes are closed and you're breathing slowly, deeply, and gently, right? That's the relaxing, meditative part of it. The practitioner is offering instructions to your subconscious mind, which your subconscious mind is always free to accept, reject, or implement at any level that it feels is appropriate. And your subconscious mind starts to reveal its programming. How does it do this? You may notice, you may observe, right? So part of your job is to observe what comes up in the mind once these instructions are being fed to you. A memory may come up for you, or an image, a thought, or words. You may feel body sensations, right? These may feel random, but they are not random. This is your subconscious mind revealing its programming. And at the end of each round of instructions, when I sense that you are done processing those instructions, I will ask you for a bit of feedback. I'll say, well, what came up for you? And then you'll tell me. The process or the experience of having instructions processed may feel like a little bit of tingling. It may feel like REM eye movements, or it may feel a little bit like lightheadedness or dizziness. Not everyone has these sensations, but they are kind of the more common descriptions that come up. Also, the feedback that you provide to me from, what comes up for you during one of those iterations, one of those rounds of instructions, is important. Based on that feedback, I see, where we need to go next. So it's important that you not repress anything or reject anything or omit something that feels significant to you. And even if it doesn't, even if the significance is not really clear to you, just let me know so that I have that information to figure out what the next round of instructions is. So in terms of how many sessions are needed, this is so individual because there's no recipe here. It's not a cookie cutter process. We are working exactly with what is in your mindscape. But as a general guideline, I will say that typically we are looking at 1 to 3 sessions for an emotional issue, 3 to 5 or 6 sessions for a mental issue, and 4 to 6 sessions for physical issues, right? Symptoms or physical patterns. This does, these are just general guidelines. These do vary based on the person, because what I have found is that people who have more significant histories of lifetime trauma tend to need more sessions. People with deeper, more complex patterns, disease patterns that have been around for years and decades, tend to need more sessions, right? In terms of spacing the sessions, people always want to know, how often do I need a session? Well, again, this is very individual, and it is different after each session. So typically at the end of a session, I will ask your subconscious mind, is there a recommended interval? And where there is, I will tell you, what that recommendation is. But for people who need to carve out time and they need to be more planful, I will say that a good default schedule would be every other week. right? So a session every other week is probably a good pace. All sessions are cumulative, right? I'll say it again. No matter what the subject that we work on in a session, the sessions are cumulative. So, when I said it takes 4 to 6 sessions to see changes on a physical level, many times we have not worked on anything other than emotional topics. And yet, by 4 to 6 sessions, the person is starting to feel shifts on a physical level. So it's not like we need 6 sessions on migraines, to resolve migraines. No, it's, every session counts. Like every session, we are resolving another layer of subconscious stressors. And so it is the cumulative effect of this that seems to sort of go from the emotional level to the mental level to the physical level. Okay, well, I hope I've answered your questions. If I have not, please tune into the next video where I will talk about who benefits from MAP sessions. I will talk about what kinds of topics we can work on. How do I prepare for a session, right? How do I get the most out of each session? And also, how do programs work? So we will get to those questions and more if you tune into the next video. Thanks.